to Edgeworth. 32 to Edgeworth. To Edgeworth. Edgeworth.
Yeah, so funny.
Steeples.
That's a long way off.
Called slavery by consent. I mean, I think it's a nice car on real old horses. He's coming out here. You know? Can you go and close your door? We've got back and see
Has anyone got any sun cream?
Sky or BBC.
I can't believe no one's brought a drone. Just could fly straight to the drone.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you. I thought it might work.
I think the whole bottle's going to be growing about 10 minutes now. This is it. I think that's an accepted program. I've watched it. The comments from scientists and other scientists. And it's an accepted technology that they're proposing to use. It's out there. It's great. This is
You're done. I'd like to review. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You can put right here?
No, I'm just watching.
Oh, right, okay.
Over to you, Matt.
This is Gerard Batten. He's the UKIP MEP for London. He's here because he's concerned about the role of the European Union in the Bilderberg Group.
Well, I'm concerned about lots of things, but one of the things on the agenda is Europe and politics. And I'm sure that what they're going to be talking about is the European Union. You've got the falling apart of the European single market, things down in Greece, the situation is turning very nicely. And of course you've got the rise of anti-EU feeling, which is part of the UK independence process in Britain. People are voting against the European Union. Speak up! Numbers. I'm sure that is going to be one of the things on their agenda. Because it's also true that the European Union is instrumental in Bilderberg, one of those forces instrumental in bringing about the whole European Union project, centralisation of power, this new European state.
Any politicians in Britain?
Oh yeah, Kissinger famously said, he's been driving this thing. And of course the British Osborne, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and then all the Shadow Chancellor. Now, if all of those four people had a the team would be massive problems. It would be a major situation. But then here, in the science
I've seen people breaking away from the main party, just giving them
Important was you said the role of the Bilderberg was in
Are you down for 3 days?
shoot. It's been significant. The Americans have to bring the whole movement before the EU was set up. CIA funded VS focused so I think what the middle so I'm sure that they have a key role to play. People in the past
Definitely not.
one of those forces. Well, what's the definition of a conspiracy? It's got two or more people meeting secretly, which is maybe so I think in the streets.
Ease into it. Long future. It was warm in the office yesterday. Not a conspiracy.
Reality is bad enough.
It was warm in the office last week.
Sunscreen. Brilliant show. That's all right, though.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't believe that. These people are
That's the only program I think.
not Thank you, Jared.
Everything else, pretty amateur.
I can't find my official camera.
Away. Get a quick cut away of your hand gesturing there.
So I'm going to make this one. This is good.
Every single
Yeah, I'm going to go talk to him. And so this meeting is a place over here. So just put it there. Say
it's all the same.
And I'm going to do it without me in it. So just say hi, I'm such and such. Let me just jump in here on him, brother. Just come get it.
What is that generally?
I heard you speak because you guys talk about how you're losing your sovereignty and how you've got EU license plates and 80% of your laws are so EU and you don't get a vote on it. But again, it's a corporate group that took over America, created the UN, created all this. It's not even really America, but it was the CIA, kind of this corporate body that's anti-free market, kind of monopoly then, that did set up the EU to get rid of the sovereignty of Europe. I mean, if Hitler would have come up with a corporate plan to take over, we'd all be... Exactly.
Hello?
And all these people have done their homework. These people and yourselves. Maybe just start. Well, continue because
Yeah, exactly.
Some of it makes basically your own
Okay, everybody, sorry to have to ask for this, but we're going to have a whip round a little bit of collection towards the secure.
I'm not here at the moment. I don't know if
Behind you, you have no reason to worry. It's a golf cart.
There's not enough of us, is there?
I'm just trying to get the mainstream media to focus in on a very important lobby who have been meeting since 1954 in secret. And until just a decade ago, they wouldn't even cover it in the European press. Now they're starting to cover it heavily. And there's still almost no coverage in the United States. Just 4 years ago, the New York Times basically came out and said it didn't exist. And I was in retail in Virginia imagining black cards and vintage license. So, especially in the United States, the media doubled down and just said it didn't exist. And so we're saying, yes, there are power structures above government. There are corporate interlocking directorates throughout history. And people want to know what's going on in there. You've got government ministers or government regulators meeting in secret with the people they regulate. Then they put out a fake agenda of what they have a little, question. Well, the New World Order.
That could be a bridge too far.
Are you going to smile or cry? Go on, smile. Give me a wink.
It's a puppet, a real one. Yeah?
Oh, he's a smiler! Hello, smiler.
There is a puppet French song I will sing
he's
to
a
it.
puppet as well, is he?
It's not like so.
They are the same. Attention in the helicopter, please land. This is a no-fly zone.
There is this long video, 1 hour and more, where she explains exactly what is chemtrails. It is a project which is not secret 100% because you can still find in internet documentation from Air Force, from USA, which is Owing the Weather 2025. It is a project to change the weather, to control the weather, to manipulate the climate, and to twist it, the ecosystem in something which is controllable. Of course, if you are metal, and you can be the big powerful like that, but you can also have the power to control the weather and to generate the energy. You are the first of the world, and this is what they want to do. And why it is not known? Because if it is secret, it's much better, because that means people don't know. And probably you will be the first, and the first who catch the control of the system. Of course, he can command the system. We understand it too, because when we
same thing, there's no such thing as politics. Politics is dead. And they're moving in the same Rockefellers.
disgusting person. He told me I'm a coward, even though I came up to him.
You came up to him and he called you a coward.
In front of the top military and police branch all over with police everywhere, Secret Service, state police everywhere. So it definitely was nerve-wracking doing that.
Now tell me, what was the thing that actually got you into all of this? I mean, I presume it was 9/11, as it got most of us going, what the hell are they doing to us? What was the moment?
When I was 16, 17, I was beat up by the police in New York City. It was kind of right after 9/11. And after waking up to that, the police specifically told me, the police and lawyers and judges and people told me there was video cameras. Ever since then, I always was smart about things and always had a video camera on me at all times and always documented everything and always researched and kept an open mind every day because I knew things weren't like they were supposed to be. There wasn't really any form of justice, there wasn't any form of repercussion for people who do bad. So it's the only way to do something about it, especially in my young age, was to step up. And instead of just complaining and whining about it, I wanted to do something about it. Because, we can complain and moan and talk about the problems and be depressed and be angry all day. It's not going to change the damn thing unless you individually within yourself decide to actually be proactive, do something positive, go and make a difference, make a change, and it all begins with you deciding that to do something.
Fantastic. One of the films that I really liked wasn't really good.
Probably off ago. Stuck there all day, wasn't it?
Thank you, brother. Hey, good to see you again.
Oh, great.
Yeah, where did I meet you? Virginia last time. Yeah, good to see you. I was the guy from Germany. Yeah, I remember you. How you doing, man? I'm fine.
Could I, the next few days, just get you 5 minutes?
Yes. I'm going to go find my... Watson! Sure, absolutely. Sure. It's hard to say no. I just got to get some work down here.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Is there a chance we can get Sean and Watson together? Because we haven't had one of them yet.
We will. I've just got to...
We're going to win.
Cheers, thank you. Let me just go see the... Hey, buddy. Let's go see the globalists arriving, and then I'll come back. I'm going to be here for 3 days.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if I get one foot in that...
Sure.
Oh. We didn't even think they were going to let you in.
Info warrior.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Good to see you, man.
Alex, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Cheers, Ian. Thank you.
Hey, buddy. I'm sorry, what? No, but I think there should be investigations of the criminal lobbying going on here.
You don't want to put Ken Clark in jail?
I think there should be criminal investigations. I think a lot of people should be in jail.
Yeah,
I'm not
so do I.
Yeah.
And I've got evidence to put Ken Clark in jail.
Yeah, tell everybody about it.
It's a video. Well, it starts off with a letter in 2009 from me to Ken Clark to give him the lowdown as to why he should attend building. I get a response to it, I've got it in my bag.
And he said it was okay?
He says, don't understand, it's a conspiracy theory, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, does it exist?
No, he just says it's just a charity shop with cheese and cakes and all the rest of it. And he says, but we don't make any policy there. So, fast forward to 2012.
Well, listen, here's the deal. I've got to go get to my reporter. It's taking me 30 minutes to get up the hill.
2 seconds. Fast forward to 2012.
I'm going to be here 3 days.
Yep. Fast forward to 2012. The Treasury.
I don't know, I was just going up to President carried on.
He turns around and says that they can't use information because it's with regard to the formulation of government policy.
Yeah, Paul Joseph Watson there.
Freedom of Information Act.
Who released that?
The Treasury.
So you talked to them and they said no policy is being made, and then they refused your Freedom of Information Act and said it's government policy.
Someone a couple of years later asked the question about Bilderberg and George Osborne's attendance, and your man, the Treasury, turned around and said they can't release it. 35(1)(a) of the Freedom of Information Act, the formation of government policy.
Well, listen, you have. Sure. Hello, mate. Sure. Hello, mate. Hello. I'm happy to do it.
Your name and the name of your blog.
Sure. I'm Alex Jones, and I'm with Infowars.com.
Okay, why are you here, Alex? What's this all about?
I'm here because this is a giant secret lobbying meeting going on. It's been declassified that they formulated the plan for the EU back in the 50s. The first meeting, it's been released by WikiLeaks and other sources that they're pushing for a global corporate government right now, where they have diplomatic immunity from taxes and regulations, but we don't. I can start over.
So sorry, that was sounding
I'm
good,
fine.
so-
I'm fine.
Thank you.
You're doing me a favor, thank you. Space Cadet.
Sorry, Alex.
Don't say sorry, ma'am. How you doing? Nice. What's your name? Nice to meet you.
Yvonne, that's
Let me say it again.
Yes, please, yeah. What's this all about?
Sure.
Why are you
Okay.
here?
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I'm with Infowars.com, and I've come here from the United States because I've been tracking Bilderberg for about 18 years. A lot of their corporate minutes have been leaked. Some of it's been declassified. They set up the beginnings of the European Union back in 1954. They are incredibly powerful. There is a mystique for a reason. They do meet in secret for a reason, because policy is being set in there. And you've got government regulators meeting with the very industries that they regulate. It basically is a shadow corporate government of lobbyists manipulating the UK, European Union, US, Canadian government, and many other governments. And that's why a lot of foreign governments aren't invited from, say, Asia or Africa or Latin America, because this is an Anglo-American club.
What do you think the protest can do here today and your own presence? What can the protest do?
The protest is here to draw attention to the fact that it exists, because they'd like us to believe that there's only presidents and prime ministers and nothing goes higher than that. When in truth, there are the big, powerful interests, the robber barons, many of them, some of the famous names, Rockefeller, you name it, who are here basically pushing an agenda of a global corporate government. In fact, Hitler had a plan for a European Union under a European Economic Community, and it was actually that plan that was adopted by the CIA, just like we adopted their rocket program, their spy program. It was seen that the Nazis had one of the best programs. That was brought to the United States, picked up by the Rand Corporation and others, and then brought in and incorporated in Bilderberg to establish a global government takeover, starting with the US, Canada, the UK, and Western Europe. And once that's all merged under corporate governance, it then will dominate the planet using Chinese industry.
Now, the Bilderberg Group would argue, as you probably know, they just want an informal arena to discuss ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what they would say. What would you say to that?
The Bilderberg Group would say, we have a right to meet in secret. This is a free country. The issue is there are laws like the Logan Act in the U.S. with our politicians meeting to make policy. And it's come out, it's been leaked, confirmed. They set a lot of policy in there. And so, yes, as individuals they can meet, but not with a bunch of government officials with police and helicopters and CIA and MI6 inside there. I've been inside the hotels when they shut them down, and it is crawling. I've walked into rooms and they've got spy satellite grids up, tracking everybody. That is a giant, basically G20 meeting going on in secret that we're not supposed to know about.
Sum up for me why this matters to ordinary men and women. Why is this important? Why should we know what's going on there?
The average person needs to be aware that the reason it seems like government is doing things to us instead of doing things for us is because corporate special interests that are anti-free market, that are monopoly capitalist, have come in and taken over through vehicles like Bilderberg. And now they're going more public with Davos and other forums. But they want diplomatic immunity. They want $100 trillion in the next decade of taxpayer money to prop up their derivatives. They formulated more than 15 years ago at Bilderberg, this has been leaked, the plan to get rid of banking regulations so they could pull off the global banking crisis. The LIBOR scandal, fixing interest rates. That was always a conspiracy theory. We had Bilderberg documents from the 60s with major bank attendees there trying to fix interest rates. That's what these big moguls do. Instead of producing a product that makes them number one, they go make deals with government to shut down their competition or to prop them up when their ventures fail. You see, they've made risk public and the profit private. And that's what's going on in there. That is the mother of all mega lobbying events going on right up there behind that steel cage, paid for with taxpayer money. You've got men in there on record worth $50 billion, and that's just their public wealth. And then the people of this area north of London are going to have to pay to have all of that erected.
Okay, Alex, thanks very much for your time.
It's outrageous. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well done for covering it.
Yeah.
Hey Alex, you got a message for the info-free German audience? Remember me?
I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. I'm a syndicated radio host, documentary filmmaker based in Austin, Texas.
Okay, Alex, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here to expose one of the most powerful structures in the corporate shadow world government.
Amen.
And we've gotten WikiLeaks documents. I've gotten documents out of the National Archives brought to me by federal employees who could be arrested for whistleblowing. We've published them. We know what goes on inside of there, and policy is being set during these meetings. They set up the European Union covertly, the beginnings of it. They have set up so many other programs. You've got government regulators meeting with the very industries that they regulate in private in the midst of this huge lobbying scandal here in the UK. We've got our own lobbying scandals in the United States. You have the mother of all lobbying operations going on right here in front of everybody, and for decades, at least in the US, they wouldn't even admit that this existed. I've got to give credit over here in the UK. The BBC's been reporting on it for probably 30 years. But the point is, and also getting access into it, because the BBC's been somewhat favorable, I would say, overall. But the point is that this is a real global shadow government they tried to deny, and now we have forced everybody to admit that it is going on. And there's a reason they didn't want the hot lights of public scrutiny on this, because they know once people start looking at it and investigating it, there's going to be more indictments like there were back in the 70s with the Lockheed Martin scandal.
Okay, they'd say to you, this is just a bit of blue sky thinking.
If it's a bit of blue sky thinking, why are there helicopters overhead? Why are there so many spy agencies there in attendance? Because I've been inside the hotels in other parts of the world when we're all thrown out. I've stayed in after the hotel's in lockdown. Okay.
What has happened as a result of other Bilderbergs?
What you have, and this has all been declassified. Carol Quigley back in the 60s was allowed into their archives. He wrote a book called Tragedy and Hope that was for State Department officials to be able to understand, wait, we fund the fascist and the socialist, we fund the communist and the right-wingers. It was to understand the dialectic, and it was only meant for State Department, but it got out. And you can read the book. And it was Bill Clinton's mentor that wrote the book, who was a student of Cecil Rhodes. And the plan was take the British imperial model, but corporatize it worldwide. And basically the United States adopted it, established Bilderberg with the CIA at the helm in 1954, with the UK power structure and what was left of the European power structure under the Marshall Act, to basically merge it all under a corporate governance structure. And that's what it is, and that's what is now been established. And they're above the law. They don't have to pay the same taxes the public does. They get diplomatic immunity. They get to have trillions of dollars in banker bailouts of taxpayer money, all in a unified, concerted, technocratic, corporate martial law takeover. And it's actually a model developed by Hitler when he was having delusions of grandeur of how he was going to take over all of Europe for living space. You can translate it into German, that they were going to use corporate governance again, kind of like they did with the Vichy French, putting a front up, but controlling it through finance and central banking. And that plan was actually adopted by the CIA in '54 through Bilderberg. So this is actually a Nazi German plan. That's why Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, originally an SS officer, was the founder. It was actually a Nazi plan for global corporate governance that has now been expanded out.
So, if meetings like this are, as you say, they're opaque, they're undemocratic, they're clandestine, they're nefarious, they're even Nazi, what should happen to them?
Well, I will say this: Bilderberg's brought in a lot of new blood. Google, they brought in Peter Thiel, the head of PayPal and other things, who are more modern and aren't kind of like the old crusty robber barons of the past. And I haven't seen them themselves commit enough open, atrocities to be able to say that they're 100% nefarious. So I'm not saying everybody that is attending there is a criminal, but definitely this thing was set up to coordinate the key people from government, industry, and academia and media to carry out a corporate governance plan worldwide that we've now seen the fruits of. And that's why I think there should be investigations at the county, at the regional level, because one of their main agendas is to, quote, look at nationalism. That's their enemy. I see nationalism as firewalls, so that if a big tyranny rises up, there's countries to oppose it. I mean, going back to opposing the Soviets, going back to opposing the Nazis, it was countries that were a firewall that could operate against it. But now with EU bureaucracy exempting themselves from taxes and things, you notice how that's the technocratic governance that no matter what you do in the EU Parliament, no matter what you do in your British Parliament, it's still overridden by the larger EU, that the BBC from day one has been there working with the Bilderberg Group to push on the public.
And if these meetings continue, then, Alex, you'll continue to turn up like this?
Absolutely. We've had a huge victory. Now worldwide the press is having a comment, okay, it exists. You were conspiracy theory kooks for saying powerful people meet in secret, nothing's going on. New York Times 4 years ago said that I was at a thing and there was no one there. They just said I was completely insane, even though there were helicopters and troops flying, all over the place. And then now it's, oh, you're crazy that you care that they're hiding in secret behind a ring of steel. So it just doesn't matter. The dinosaur media is killing itself. We're not destroying the dinosaur media. The dinosaur media is killing itself because it's bought and paid for by these same interests. And of course, that's the perfect Bilderberg model, because they take taxpayers' money locally to pay for this ring of steel, just like the BBC takes taxpayer money to then put out the Bilderberg message. And I think there is some good stuff on the BBC, I want to be clear. I'm just saying generally it's been pretty positive coverage of the Bilderberg, but also some of the only mainstream media coverage, because you guys were given access to them. So who knows, maybe you know what you're doing. But kind of a roundabout way there. The point is, it exists, and the new media is here in mass, and I think that's good. The new media, the citizen journalist media, has forced the power structure and all the king's horses and all the king's men to come here and try to put their New World Order back together again. And it's not going to work. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Mark Whittaker.
You're a machine.
Nice to meet you.
Mark, good to meet you, buddy.
And you. Take care.
All right, here we go.
Deal with that idea now. We're just worthless eaters. They just want to save themselves. Everything, the chemtrails.
I actually did a bit of research on the Greek websites, and they're dirty as skunks, those people who are involved. And that's how they and that's what it's all about. And that's why it links back to this and Jimmy Savile. The whole thing all links up,
Here, this will go out to tens of millions. And I agree, we need to get out there. It's wrong they're trying
At some point we should have at least a few hours on the street.
I agree.
Because if we don't, we're wasting our manpower.
Good. Hey, let me talk to you real quick about something. Just so you know, camera stuff.
Well, I don't see why we're all in here.
and royal families as well. And the people that are in Britain, basically they're saying that they want to know what meetings are about, and they want people to make their decisions rather than just making decisions to suit them. Your press, so you choose. You're going to be press or process? I've been asked to do an interview for Australian
Okay, yes. I understand.
You'll never know what they do to your horses.
Should be ashamed of yourself!
Don't let them be touching them horses!
Be careful of those horses, those Bilderbergers are into something dodgy! That's who you are!
I'll have the horse welfare on your wall! I've got horses myself! You might be in a bit tighter! It'll be fun for that small board. Put your hands down, your hand like it. Yeah, come back and say it. Come back and say it. Yeah. Faggot. We'll protect your system.
I think we've got a tough guy on our hands, Steve.
I think we're not seeing anyone.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. Sure. You're probably feeling real well back there. Looking for the road.
He was doing some evil looks.
Yeah, he was, wasn't it?
Don't you dare talk about rough jar like that.
I think it's got to have a pod to horse welfare.
Yeah.
Probably well taken, though, I would imagine.
They'll come back up in a minute now.
That's what I tell him all the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stuff behind you, Ed.
All in the same club.
You don't need a reason to be happy. That's what it sounds like.
Something is wrong in the world! My new patented design of the multi-signage roller decks. Here is a demonstration.
He says, get a knock. This is not rehearsed, obviously. Whoop! You've lost your nose.
And voila, you can change your message to the world, change why you are here. Well, we all know why we are here, really, don't we? I'm here for the same reason that you are. And I can't quite put my finger on it, like many of you.
Would you like to address the...
I have nothing bad to say to these people. I just feel sorry for them. Stuck in this heat I volunteer to be here. I volunteer to sweat. You guys have to, or feel you have to.
Sorry, what's your move?
Controversy clown.
Controversy clown. Controversy clown. You're dressed as a controversial clown. I can see. Why are you in this field? Near Watford?
Well, as someone said on the way in, we all have to be somewhere today, and I have chosen this location for the same reason as most other people who've decided to come here.
Your nose is slipping off a bit.
We need to rev it up a bit. It's okay, plenty of people being here, it needs to be revved up. Something is wrong. Look around us, what's going on? This is bizarre.
Do people not feel strongly enough about Bilderberg then?
Not as well. Bilderberg is just the icing on the cake. There's a lot in this world that needs addressing. And these guys who are here today are part of that and have the power to do something about that should they choose.
Do you want to give us another shout?
A little one?
Yeah. Oh, big one.
Right, I'm going to... Has everyone got a drink of water? Okay.
You don't mind us filming you, do you? Well, obviously not dressed like that, I guess.
I don't think he's shy.
You're the BBC, you're going to put them on the news and say representative of the Bilderberg protest.
Imagine if we all dressed as clowns. Who would be arrested then? Who would want to arrest a clown? Who would accuse a clown of hiding weapons of mass destruction in his lovely booties here? There's plenty of space. What about this red nose? On the way in, security were reluctant to be as thorough with me as with anyone else. For all they know, I am concealing weapons of mass destruction. What a term.
Nice to meet you. Have a good day. Stay safe. Bye.
Cheers. Take care.
And I think it's natural that this kind of resurgence will go along with these kind of protests. Yeah. I mean, people. I think people 34 years. Bless you. I mean, you talk about water. It's a very interesting point because traditional societies have been.
Come back!
You can watch it live video broadcast.
Right now,